Hello and welcome to the new series of Drishti IAS. I am Pooja Dwivedi, and in this segment today, we are going to talk about a report that is suggesting that reforestation is threatening global food security. So let's discuss this news, and these are going to be the topics of discussion. Starting from the news, let's talk about what this report is saying. So Oxfam has released a report in which it is stating that businesses and governments who are looking towards reforestation in order to sequester carbon to meet their net zero emission targets should reconsider excessive reforestation plans because it is threatening global food security. If we talk about the threat to global food security, it is arising from the fact that the patch of land which should be available for agriculture to meet the needs of food for the population is going to be diverted towards planting more trees. So now if we talk about this entire news set, it is divided into different segments. First, we have to talk about Oxfam. Oxfam International is a group of independent non-governmental organizations, and Oxfam is a short term for Oxford Committee for Famine Relief, which was established in Britain in the year 1942. And if we talk about the current establishment of Oxfam, it was established in the year 1995. It is headquartered in Nairobi, Kenya, and it fights injustice and of course works towards eliminating poverty. Okay, so Oxfam, this international organization, has released this report. Moving forward, if we talk about greenhouse gas emissions. Greenhouse gas emissions mean the emissions of such gases that result in climate change because they linger into our atmosphere for a long period of time, which leads to greenhouse gas, global warming or greenhouse gas effect. China is the top emitter of greenhouse gases, followed by the US, and then comes India. Okay. So this is the chart to help you with it. Moving forward, if we talk about the different sectors which contribute to the greenhouse gas emission, the first of course stands in line is energy. Then it is followed by agriculture. Then we have industry, transportation, and other energy sectors such as forestry also is included, and then buildings. Okay. Moving forward, if we talk about the greenhouse gases, this chart is showing you, this graph is showing you the global warming potential and the amount that has been into the atmosphere by anthropogenic means. So fluorinated gases such as hydrochlorofluorocarbons, these have a global warming potential exceeding 1000. So these gases linger in the atmosphere for a longer period of time. Then comes nitrous oxide, after that we have methane, and then we have carbon dioxide. Okay, and this is the amount that has been added. In this chart it is showing that which gas has been contributed accordingly. So carbon dioxide is of course the most prominent ones that is there, and of course fluorinated gases have been phased out, so that is why their share is less. Moving on, if we talk about net zero emissions. What are net zero emissions? If you want to take a screenshot or write it down, kindly do it. Achieving an overall balance means net zero emission is meaning achieving an overall balance between greenhouse gas emissions produced and greenhouse gas emissions taken out of the atmosphere. Okay, so first is that we need to understand here is we need to reduce the amount of greenhouse gases that we emit into the atmosphere, the gases which result from generating electricity in the industry, in agriculture as well. Then after that, whatever the remaining amount of carbon dioxide or greenhouse gases are there, they should also be sequestered with the help of forests, because trees can sequester tons and tons of carbon dioxide. Okay, then if we talk about this chart, it is showing you the phasing out of the gases step by step. One thing that we need to keep in mind is the net zero emission target of carbon dioxide is very different from the net zero emission targets of other greenhouse gases. because other greenhouse gases such as methane, they take a lot of time to be phased out because agricultural sector, it contributes to the emission of methane. So it will take a longer period of time. So if we talk about the net zero emission target of other greenhouse gases, it will linger from 2063 to 2068. This is the targeted. And if we talk about the emissions of carbon dioxide to achieve a net zero emission of carbon dioxide, the targeted range is 2050. The year is 2050. So if we talk about as of June 2020, we have to understand that 20 countries and regions have adopted net zero targets. This list only includes countries that adopted a net zero target in law or another policy document. Okay, can you please tell me in the comment segment which is a country that has already achieved negative carbon emission? Okay, so Indian scenario, if we talk about India's per capita carbon dioxide emissions is at 1.8 tons per person in 2015. It's around a ninth of those in the US and around third of the global average of 4.8 tons per person. Moving forward, if we talk about afforestation, reforestation and deforestation, afforestation and reforestation are sometimes used in tandem or synonymously. But afforestation is looking for a new region to plant fresh trees. Reforestation is actually planting trees in that area where deforestation has taken place. So, reforestation and afforestation and deforestation. Deforestation is of course the removal of forests to meet the other purposes of the human population. And afforestation is the establishment of a forest or stand of trees on a fresh region, in a fresh region. Moving forward, if we talk about the plans when it comes to India of reforestation, first let us talk about the report which is suggesting that in order to offset carbon dioxide by 2050, the entire world needs 1.6 billion hectares of land. That is 5 times the size of India. This huge amount of land needs to be planted with trees in order to reach the net zero emission target by 2050 for carbon dioxide. Where will this land come from? It will of course come from those areas which are already devoted to agriculture or residence, right? And if we talk about, it also has said that we need to limit the use of land for offsetting purpose. And it has also said that approximately 350 million hectares of land is needed to achieve the target of net zero emission by 2050 without compromising the land available for agriculture. So for the whole world, it is suggesting that we need a land of the size of India to sequester carbon sustainably without having to compromise on the land available for agriculture. And the draft, if we talk about National Forest Policy of 2018, it does talk a lot about having a land available for afforestation and reforestation. Then of course, if we talk about the green belt, like there is a great green wall in the Sahel region of Africa, similarly it has been proposed for the region near the Aravallis as well. Now forest belt, it is likely to run from Porbandar to Panipat. And green wall, this will act as a barrier for dust and from west and check eastward march of the Thar desert because desertification is also taking place. So this is a case of reforestation and afforestation. There is also a technique for urban forest which is known as Miyawaki. This is a Japanese technique. So here in Miyawaki, urban forests or afforestation of the urban region in order to sequester carbon dioxide, because urbanization leads to unchecked greenhouse gas emissions, especially CO2. So in order to keep a check on that, Miyawaki is also being practiced in regions such as Maharashtra, and Telangana and Andhra Pradesh governments are also looking towards it. Moving forward, if we talk about the global food security, what is global food security? First, we need to understand that global food security is actually has been defined by the United Nations as the availability and accessibility of food, not only physical but also economic and social, to all persons at all times. And that food is to be made available which meets their dietary preferences and also their nutrition demand for them to have a healthy and sustainable and active life. So it depends on many things. First is food availability. Food should be made available to them. That means physically available, economically available, and socially available. They should not have any discrimination on these grounds. Then comes food access, providing a dense network of food shops and providing proper direct benefit transfer to them in order for them to have an access economically as well. Then food utilization. Whatever the food has been consumed should be used in order to meet the nutrition balance of one's body so that they can have a healthy and sustainable life. But food prices, that could increase. Already there is a global food security threat. Food prices could rise by 80% by 2050 according to some estimates, if offsetting emissions through forestry is overused. Now, Oxfam has said that they are not against afforestation or forestation, reforestation, but they are actually trying to have a proper balance between afforestation on a limited scale and also simultaneously having more sustainable options to look for carbon sequestration. This is what they are saying. So, as you can see, this is a global food security index and it was first ever published in the year 2012 by the Economist Intelligence Unit. So, it has ranked as many as 113 countries on 59 indicators which are based on food availability, food quality, food accessibility and food safety as well. These are many indicators, few of the many indicators which Global Food Security Index ranks a country upon. So, the first in line is Finland, which is then followed by Ireland, then Netherlands. Can you tell me in the comment segment, India stands at which rank? Okay, so this food security index has already seen that there is going to be a threat to the global food security ahead. Not only that, the World Food Programme and of course the Food and Agriculture Organization, they have also released a recent report by the name of Hunger Hotspots from the month of August to November 2021. In which they are suggesting that countries such as Ecuador and Madagascar, they are rising to be the hotspots because of the lack of food security and hunger will also be there. So, it will also, this report has also included the reasons for it. We have covered it in one of our series in Drishti IAS only and you can read about it on our website as well. Okay, then comes next is the state of food security and nutrition in the world. So, many organizations such as IFAD, Institute for Financial Agriculture Development, this World Food Programme, World Health Organization, United Nations Children's Fund and Food and Agriculture Organization. So, these many institutes have come together in order to publish the state of food security and nutrition in the world. So, what has this suggested? This has suggested that food security is threatening, has been threatened. And of course, if we look at reforestation and afforestation techniques, which is unchecked and limitless, this will of course be aggravated, right? Moving on, let's talk about challenges. First challenge is that policy for sustainable reforestation is not there. Many policies do talk about reforestation, planting more trees, but we forget that we also have the needs of food for a rising population. We forget that. So, first challenge is how to formulate a policy. Then, decentralization of policy at the national level, because one size doesn't fit all. A policy which is on the global level will of course not fit the regional level, because every area, every region in the world is different in nature. Some places there may be a population a high amount of population. In some regions, there may not have been a huge amount of population. So, second challenge is to decentralize those policies. Other offset measures, there are other offset measures. There is a paucity of awareness for that. For example, Switzerland. Switzerland has made an estimate of sequestering 12.5% of carbon dioxide. So, if it doesn't have the proper amount of land to do reforestation, it has gone for carbon credit mechanism from Peru and Ghana. So, Peru and Ghana, if they are unable to control their carbon dioxide emissions, they will purchase carbon credit from Switzerland, and Switzerland on the other hand will make use of those finances in order to have some projects that are able to sequester carbon dioxide. So this is one of the options available. Okay, so there should be other options as well as other than reforestation and afforestation, so that everybody must understand that not only one option can be stressed upon, because it will not be sustainable in the long run. Way forward is, of course, formulating a policy with bottom-up approach, not top-to-bottom, because these policies, these instances, these situations, they arise from the bottom, then move to the top. So, in the same manner, we have to come up with the solution with the community. Community-based approaches should come from the bottom and then move to the top, so that a proper formulation of policy could be there. Then voluntary approach should be at the first level, and then once trial and error method is accomplished, there should be a legal treaty-based approach, which can be a legal-based approach as well, right? And then other offset measures which are sustainable in nature should also be looked at. More carbon credit mechanisms like. Okay, so let's move on to our mains-based question. I hope you practice it. Carbon emissions offset goals threaten the global food security. Critically analyze. So that's it for today. Tomorrow we shall meet again with another segment. Until then, stay updated and thank you so much for watching.